Yeah, so you turn 60 years old plus. Let's say you're 65, 64. Now what? What do you do now? It's very interesting because there's this real movement or real trend in the G5 that people they're very unhappy, they're very unsettled. It's a rat race. It is too expensive, ridiculously expensive. People are pushy, everything is aggressive, and it's getting worse every year. The taxes keep going up, you're getting less and less value for your money. So all of a sudden, there's this trend of moving to other countries, moving somewhere cheaper, moving somewhere better, moving to the other side of the fence where it's greener. And it's a hard decision to do that. And the way I've based my decision on coming to Ecuador was looking at how can I live an extra 5 to 10 years. Those 5 to 10 years have to be of high quality. You have to be of clear mind. You have to be able to walk around. You have to be able to do a lot of things in the garden or whatever your hobbies are. You have to be able to be active. A lot of my research was based on something called the blue zones. There's a couple of places in the world where people live to be 100 years old, where they're quite healthy, where they're still doing stuff at 80, 90, 100. They're still working, creating themselves in a beautiful environment. They're growing their own food. They're doing all these things, and they're not chasing the mighty dollar. And that mighty dollar is, don't get me wrong, when you come to a place, you have to basically show up with money. Otherwise, it's incredibly tough to survive in a third world country without any savings or money or real estate or whatever it may be. You need a nest egg, you need some type of a starting point. Otherwise, it's really hard to make a living in a place where you basically don't belong. At the beginning, anyways, you have to work your way towards establishing connections and maybe starting a business or whatever it may be. So this idea of blue zones is very interesting because they have some very smart suggestions. Like, I'll give you one, for example, that is this idea of your stomach is this big and you're only supposed to fill it up 80%. And what that means is you basically aren't being jumbo sized with your plate, or you're not greedy, or you understand all of a sudden now that, look, if I eat better food, then I can eat less. I get the same nutritional content if I ate 80% of really good food compared to nutritional food, compared to something that is man made or commercially influenced. So I'm better off eating that real food. So I'll give you an example here. If you buy a bunch of bananas here, you've never tasted bananas like this in your life. There's no one in Canada or the US or Europe that has tasted bananas that have gone through the whole process of ripening on the herb itself, the banana herb. So if you experience that difference in food where it hasn't been sprayed, or you're growing it yourself in your garden, or you have this ability to source really clean, good food, it makes such a difference for you quickly when you arrive. So your your body understands that, hey, I'm being fed fantastic food. I'm able to suck out all this nutrients and turn it back into energy and all those things. So this idea of having better nutritional food with a higher nutritional content will make you a lot healthier, will keep you a lot healthier, and it will allow you to feel better, live longer, and age a lot better. This idea of reducing stress is on this blue zone list. How do you make it in a world where everything is pushing towards making money and pushing towards you performing and pushing towards you doing all these things to be content in this world? or even just to survive. A lot of times the people are in survival mode more than anything else right now. So it's a tough go when you're paying, $3,800 rent or $2,900 rent or whatever it may be, and you're only making 3,700 a month, if that. So there is this idea of living cheaper but living better. There is that relationship, and I think that's what a lot of people are looking for, is this way of, staying home and making money online or whatever it may be. And it's a very competitive market now because everyone wants to do it. But if you can get away with, making $1,200 here in Ecuador, you can get a really nice little apartment. You can eat really well. You can go for dinner a lot of times. You can do, all these activities, and you can reduce your stress load because you're not having to make $5,800. You need to make $1,200 now, or you need to spend $1,200 out of your saving. So there is an equation where you end up saying to yourself, if I live somewhere cheaper, I don't have to get up every morning at 6 o'clock and travel 45 minutes to get to work. And I don't have to deal with all these people that are pushing me to get the most out of my abilities. And the list goes on and on and on. It's this idea where you have to spend energy and money to make energy and money. And if you can spend less energy and spend less money to make a similar amount of money that you need to survive in a different place, then maybe that's a great option, is to downsize, but you're downsizing in such a way that you're up upsizing. You're living a better life. You're enjoying yourself a lot more. Other things on the list were very interesting. They have this idea of belonging, so, and having purpose. Now, if I didn't have this garden and I didn't have this, my workers coming in the morning and we're doing these great projects and we're doing things on YouTube, if I didn't have that, it would be very, very hard for me to live here because I need to be busy. I need to be creative. I need to do things. I need to be happy in such a way that, there's a forward movement on the property or in my life or in our, my relationships with other people. There's this idea that you need to have people around you, and these people need to not apply stress on you. They don't need to be a burden. They need to be something that you can enjoy, that you can move them along with you. You can teach them things. You can do all these things with them and not be stressed out by their arrogance or narcissism, whatever it may be. There is this idea that if you can surround yourself in a foreign country, even with great people, and I just have a very simple philosophy here. If you're behaving really poorly or badly or stealing or whatever, I don't deal with you anymore. And that's worked out really well here so far because we have really good people that are surrounding us, and it's enjoyable to get up in the morning. You don't have somebody hassling you. So when you move to a different place, and you don't have that pressure of making, $5,800 every month, you can behave differently. You can behave more. You can be a lot more easygoing. You can say to yourself, "I don't need to make all this money to survive here. I can live. I can eat really well." We have natural spring water coming from the way up there, way at the top, and you've never tasted water like that. That's going to help me stay alive a lot longer. When you take a shower here with that water, it's like, I don't even know how to describe it. Your whole body absorbs that energy from that super clean water. And everything that you do after you turn a certain age is about choice. Like, can you afford to move to somewhere where you don't need heating, somewhere where you don't need air conditioning, somewhere where you can grow everything you need to eat, somewhere where you can buy a piece of land for 20 grand, you can build a house for 30,000, You can sort of live in a way that you can, I almost describe it as hiding out. You can hide out somewhere and you can move yourself forward by having plants everywhere around you, by having great people, by having great food. This idea of creating this blue zone for yourself is so interesting because it's achievable, it's doable. There's still locations in the world. We have so many little valleys here that have all these secret little hideouts where you can drive 10 minutes to get to the city center, 15 minutes. You can buy all your, groceries. You don't have to miss out on luxuries. There's some supermarkets that have everything you can imagine. There's You have the ability to order everything on Amazon just the same way as if you're in Canada or Europe or in America. So there's all this infrastructure in a place like this where you're living in the middle of nowhere, let's say, but you still have this connection to the rest of the world. There's internet here. There's, you know, all these things that are helping you stay connected with the world, but you're still hiding out. You're still separate from that world. So if you want to really find a place where you can, live out the last one third of your life, let's say we divide life into um, 30, 60, 90. So you're past the 60 mark. So you have 30 years left, let's say, or 20. And you kind of have enough money that you could survive the next 30 years. You can live very cheap, very inexpensively. You can be frugal with everything that you buy. You can grow your own food. You don't have to move around so much. You can make money online. You can do all these things. And that is sort of the wish, I think, of a huge portion of the G5. I think there's a lot of people that want to experience a change in their life, a difference, a new challenge. Let's face it, when you're 60, you've done a lot of things. You've experienced a lot of ups and downs and craziness, and you've gained so much knowledge, and you're just a total different human being compared to when you were 20. So this idea of downshifting, downsizing, regulating your stress, removing your stress, being a completely more relaxed human being, that that might require for you to search out a new location. Like for you to be a very easygoing person in a city that is surrounded by lights and energy and gas fumes and noise and traffic and nightlife and all those things, that can make it very hard for you to slow down because you're surrounded by this energy that is constantly in your face. It's constantly there. So this downshifting is, I think, what a lot of people want because they don't want to make $5,800, and the tax man and your landlord or your mortgage or whatever it may be is gobbling up all of that. There's never anything left over where you can say, hey, look, I can actually take it really easy this month. I don't need to hustle and get all this stuff done, and I don't need to listen to all these people that are, constantly pushing. And it's a different life, and the food is better. The water where we are is much better. We don't have any diesel old buses running around. We don't have any diesel trucks. We have this beautiful air that's always invigorated by this misting rain and this constant, rain showers that constantly clean everything up and provide you with this great oxygen. So if you want to make a move to a new place, do your research, figure out what places are on the list, what countries are on the list, what are the immigration requirements, what is the ability to make money in a place like this, what are all those things that are connected to a country. And if you can figure all that out, then I think you can do incredibly well being a new human being after 60. in a place that is completely foreign to you. It takes courage, it takes willingness, it takes this ability to downsize, this ability not to be as important as you want to be. You have to be a person that can say to yourself, it's not really that important to me to be this busybody anymore. I can be somebody who's looking after themselves, who's feeding themselves, who's working the land, breathing fresh air. All those things will make such a huge difference if you decide to make a choice for something that is simpler.